Look, I don't like talking about Jeremy Corbyn because I know he splits the room, and given that he's effectively off the board, there's nothing to be gained from me trying to get you guys to feel the way that I do about him. However, with the news that Keir Starmer just announced that he'll never let Jeremy Corbyn stand as a Labour MP again, there's a very real risk that some of you might abandon Labour in solidarity with Jeremy Corbyn against Keir Starmer. So I'm going to tell you my feelings about Jeremy Corbyn to make my point about personality politics, where you focus more on the politicians than the issues at stake. One of the reasons I quit my career in human rights and came back to the UK to try and stop Brexit was seeing this video.
Your members want to be inside the single market, and they want to be inside the customs union, and they want a second referendum. Now, you always say that you listen to your members. Why do you not listen to them about these things?
I listen to members all the time. Yes, the membership of the Labour Party overwhelmingly voted to remain. Overwhelmingly, Labour supporters voted to remain, but a third of them didn't. A third of them voted the other way. I want to win the next election.
Statistically, if you were left-leaning, you were more likely to oppose Brexit, and Jeremy Corbyn knew that, and yet he supported Brexit for 3 full years, from July 2016 to August 2019. Generally speaking, there are only 2 ways of doing Brexit. You either stop following the rules of the EU in order to take back control of our laws, but then you do the kind of damage to the economy that we're seeing right now. And because that will obviously hit the poorest in society most, no party of the working class should ever consider that option. Or you keep following the rules of the EU, but because we're no longer EU members, we no longer get to vote on those rules, which leaves us with less control over our country than we had before, in the name of people who voted to take back control. And that second one was the option that Jeremy Corbyn chose for 3 years. And even close allies of Jeremy Corbyn like Barry Gardiner said that that would piss off the very northern Brexit voters who he was trying to please. And so I devoted 2 years of my life trying to get the leader of the left to support the views of the left, knowing that the stakes were a massive NHS catastrophe and I was getting death threats all the way through, leaving me with borderline unaliving tendencies by the end of it. So you can imagine how I felt about Jeremy Corbyn come the end of 2019, and yet I still voted Labour because I knew it was the only way to stop the Tories and Brexit. And given the way Keir Starmer has acted since he took over, I put Keir Starmer and Jeremy Corbyn in the same category of politician. I have zero love for either of them, but that will not change the way I vote. With the rising poverty, authoritarianism, and institutional bigotry, we simply cannot afford to let the Tories win at the next election. And while I hope that it's a hung parliament so that Keir Starmer needs to work with the other opposition parties, Labour will be the largest opposition party. So the way to the future that we all want is to work through Labour to either change Keir Starmer once he's Prime Minister or remove him as leader. None of these politicians deserve your loyalty, and on the other hand, the country shouldn't be trashed because you hate one of them. Because if we prioritize political personalities over political strategy, that is selfish with respect to the millions of people across the country who desperately need change.